Welcome back, everybody. We're here with Tina Varughese from tWorks. Tina, welcome to the meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Pleasure.
Been a long time.
It has been too long.
It has been too long, and I appreciate that. You know, here's one of the things. Here's the reality, is that Calgary, Canada, everybody is such a melting pot of different cultures.
Right.
Yet, even though we're all in the same country now, there are some stark differences that happen within that. And Tina has specialized for years in helping companies navigate the cultural differences to help you, make more money, build more business by working together. And we always say that, the golden rule, treat people like you want to be treated. But I mean, we should live by the platinum rule, which is treat people the way they want to be treated.
I absolutely agree, and literally say that when I'm training people.
Oh, do you? Awesome.
I'm a bit afraid.
Yeah.
You just said that.
Yeah, it's so
like we're like this.
Yeah, but it's so true. It's so true.
It's so true.
So we live in our own little box, and you have specialized in expanding people's horizons for years. So
I try.
Tina, thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
So we only have a little bit of time, but I'm sure we're talking about this at the end. But for anybody who's watching this being like, this isn't enough information, we're going to talk about a course that they can attend at the end of this. So I wanted to preface with that. But big question. Why is it so important understanding different cultures? That's like a 10,000 word essay that you have to answer, but it's huge.
It's huge. It is so important because our demographic here in Calgary is changing rapidly. So we have 25 to 30% of our population in Calgary is actually foreign born. And our top source, that's huge, right?
Yeah.
That's huge. And our top source immigrant countries are India, China, Pakistan, Philippines, and you're going to start seeing prevalence with Korea as well. And all of those cultures are what we call collectivist in nature, meaning they're very referral-oriented, very repeat client-oriented, community-oriented, family-oriented. So I'm a big believer of work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
And I would much prefer to have people come to me rather than constantly having to come to them. So by understanding how to work effectively with these cultures, you start to build your business organically. So you don't really have to work as hard. So it's all about relationship building.
And that's perfect for the real estate business.
Absolutely.
That absolutely just ties right into it.
Absolutely.
Well, we have one, and I won't name, but we have one realtor who ended up, and I don't remember the story how, but not Chinese, not Asian at all, Caucasian man, but ended up working with a Chinese client, and now it's his business. And he was just like, everybody who moves here is thinking, I don't really know how it happened. But to your point, now that I've heard you say that, being like, as a collective culture, once you've earned somebody's trust, they're going to tell everybody about you. It makes sense that that's been his experience because he's done such a good job.
Yes.
And they're so happy to tell their friends and family about it.
And there's a myth that you have to be of the same culture to be able to work within a culture, and actually that's not true. Because you can actually make more prevalence. You can actually get in with a certain culture, if it be Koreans, Chinese, Indians, and grow that without being in the culture. You can actually make more business, and you'll in fact do even better, because if you think about it, collectivists, they're going to talk amongst the culture. People don't necessarily want their finances or anything going outside of their family and community, so they're happy to work with people that they trust. So this is all about trust and building that relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us now, because some realtors get frustrated though. They don't understand the cultural barriers. And things turn up in negotiations, things like that.
Is a huge
that they feel like they're butting heads. They just can't come to an agreement.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so a lot of, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily just realtors, a lot of people, especially in Canada, we think that we can only negotiate when it comes to money.
Right.
And so what happens is your nonverbal communication comes through. You can already see frustration on somebody's face. So you're almost walking away from the deal even though you're present. So what you really want to focus on is where you can create value in that relationship. So a big concept, particularly with the Chinese culture, but I would say this works with every collectivist culture, is the concept of guangshe. So guangshe is relationship collateral, meaning how can you provide value with the relationships that you have, in this case as a realtor, and make sure that that comes through to your clients so that they know that you provide value in other ways than just the bottom line. So just taking money off commission. So if that be you understand everything there is to know about schooling. Well, most collectivists are very needing education for their kids.
Yes.
So that would be a place where you can provide value. Do you understand the charter school system? Do you understand there's a difference between math, science, separate schools? There are specific schools you can go to in Calgary. Do you understand all of that? What are your relationships? Guangshui could turn into or your relationships with your lawyers, with your mortgage brokers, with your home inspection, golf courses. So all of your collateral.
Yeah.
Because, so for example, with your Korean clients, they love to golf. So if you can't, I'm not kidding, if you want to get in.
Oh yeah, they're at the top of all the competitions. They're all Korean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
it's
exactly,
true.
right?
The Korean, the women's tour is just all Korean,
Exactly,
which is amazing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it could be something like your guangshui or your relationship collateral with the golf course that you have. So it's not just always about, okay, my house is priced at $700,000, I'm going to knock it $5,000. That's not what it's about. It's where can you provide value. So I used to manage our immigration office for the province, and I'm not Korean, obviously, but they all knew me as Miss Tina. So I didn't have to work hard to create the trust in that community. It was built for me because the community started talking.
That's awesome.
So that's what you want to start doing. You want to start showing that you know everything that there is to know to help them when they buy the home. And that doesn't matter if I think that that applies not just for new immigrants or new Canadians, but new buyers. You know, it's a scary process. Buying a home is a very scary process. So whatever you can do to help mitigate that and the challenge to create that relationship, that's going to go very, very far. That's what people want. It's not just about the house.
Love that.
Good.
So from a communication standpoint, and you had already mentioned the referral business, what are some key things that somebody should be doing with their communication when they're talking to somebody from a different culture, when you're looking at the what's in it for me factor to try and get that referral business from it?
Right. So one thing I think definitely Canadians should be very aware of is the difference in communication styles between some people. So in Canada, we definitely have some people you might say are very direct in their communication style, and some are very indirect. But you have people coming from different cultures where they're so indirect. So Canada falls right in the middle of that indirect versus direct scale. But there are cultures that are indirect, that are so indirect that a yes actually means no way. There's no way. But they're going to say yes because they want to keep group harmony.
Oh,
Well, that's where your negotiation is gonna fail, right? Because you just assumed you did all of this work, and you've created this relationship, and the negotiation is going really, really well. When in essence they're like, yeah, this is going really well, and it means, oh. So there are ways that you can mitigate that to check for understanding to make sure that your message has come across. Also, English being a second language, you know, remember someone might have a really strong accent. So you might miss some of what they're saying. That can be frustrating for you. But remember, you have a strong accent when it comes for them
yes,
understanding you. So there are things that we can do to make sure, because I'm a big believer, communication is so key to build that trust. So that's stuff that we can start working on to make sure that we're understood. And that goes for email, phone, texting, written communication. There's so many ways that we need to be understood to build that trust, to create that relationship.
That's great. Now we just talked about in our market stats segment how we're starting to see the number of listings increase here. So you've talked before about some tips that people can use to help their listings sell more quickly as well. Because obviously, you know, with those types of numbers you're talking about where they're not Canadian firstborn.
Yeah.
So give us some tips that realtors can use now who have a listing coming up or on the market right now that might be able to appeal on that. Yeah.
Easy tips. So, well, first of all, statistically, collectivists or foreign-born Canadians are actually going to buy much quicker than your Canadians. Yeah. So if you're coming into the summer, because you were talking earlier about your market report and that it starts to slow down in the summer, that's not necessarily going to be necessarily accurate if you're working with your collectivists. You can actually make those quicker sales. So you have a lot of inventory right now. These are the people that you really want to make sure are driving that business, because they're going to actually buy these homes quicker. So that's something to be aware of. The easiest strategy, I know a lot of realtors probably already know this one, but numbers. So numbers with particularly with your Chinese clients, you really want to look at pricing strategy, because 8 obviously means lucky, or it actually means prosperity. And that prosperity means in health, wealth, happiness. So you might have a home priced at $744,000 It's actually going to sell quicker if you bump it to 788,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so hey,
Interesting.
you guys work off commission. I'm thinking this
Yeah,
is a really great tip for you to be working with. So you can use your
Interesting.
numbers. So that is a big one, and that's an easy one. But small things. So you're meeting somebody for the very first time. So let's pretend I'm the realtor, okay? And you're the client. So let's pretend you're a Korean client,
Okay.
new to Canada.
Hi.
Hi, did you see how I'm shaking my hand?
Yes.
When you present your hand to a Korean client, you present it with two hands.
Like
So
this.
like this, you're going to present your contract with two hands. You're going to present your pen with two hands. Does
I've
that
always
cost
noticed
you
the,
any
the
money?
business cards, they are
Business
always.
card, yeah, business card with Koreans, Chinese, and they're always going to face it outwards so
Yeah.
that the writing, the name is going to be towards you. That is a presentation so that they can
I'm
see
just
it.
having like moments
You have
where
an
like
aha
I'm
moment.
remembering that this happened with people, right? And you just don't,
Yeah. So with your Korean clients, remember, they're collectivists. So they're going to, like, no one really knows the small bit about handshakes. But if they now go, wow, this realtor knows how to shake my hand
Yeah.
in a respectful manner, well, guess what? That goes out into the community. So they're going to be telling their friends, their family, this realtor knows how to work with me. I trust this realtor to work with me. And did that cost you any money?
what if you
Shaking hands.
accidentally think someone is Korean and they're not and you do that? Would another Asian culture
You might want to
feel
verify before.
Yeah, I would verify. And honestly, so like I
That's a
know
good question.
it's a very good
People
question.
are thinking it.
That's an excellent question. And I have no issues with you asking questions that you're like, huh? I want to know. Because I want people to ask questions they're actually very uncomfortable to ask. So easy tips is looking at the names.
Okay.
So usually, like if it's Kim, chances are they're
Yeah,
Korean.
that's right. That's
Right.
right.
Like,
yeah.
so you're going to
Yeah.
look at names, will probably give you a lot of insight, especially with your Korean clients. I would say with most of your collectivist clients. So we're very casual in Canada. So I call you Lindsey. I call you Kirsten. You call me Tina. With these people, no matter where you are in that negotiation, even if the sale is done, Mr.
Okay.
Mr. So even if you're on a great first name basis and you have a great relationship, Mr. Kim, you're going to, even if it's Steve, if it's their first name, it's Mr. Steve. It's respect. And that is very important in these collectivist cultures. That's how, so it doesn't cost you any money, but it's going to build that relationship. You're going to work smarter, not harder. Very
So great.
Yeah.
So great.
So great.
Yeah.
I've lost track. I'm asking questions.
Well, there's
Feng
more
Shui.
tips.
Feng
Total
Shui.
tips.
Talk to
tips.
us about Feng Shui.
we didn't even need questions.
Is it
We
lit-
could have just talked to Tina for 15 minutes.
I'm full of knowledge.
Is it legit? Is it the real deal?
Oh my goodness. So Feng Shui is very huge. A lot of people think it's just for Chinese
Yeah.
culture, but it's actually for Chinese, Hindu, Filipino, very big part of their culture. Huge. And so there are certain things you might not be able to do as a realtor. So Feng Shui, in basic terms, is all about flow. It's all about energy flow in your house. And as Canadians, we're not as we're starting to see a little bit more Feng Shui, but it's like yoga. Yoga was not mainstream 20, 30 years
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
right? Now that's an Asian culture practice, so it's
Totally.
very mainstream. So Feng Shui, you can do some certain, so it's all about energy flow in the home. So small things, so for example, you have a staircase. So you know when you have a staircase in a house and it's
We have a
going
staircase.
directly out the door?
Yes.
So you have your curved staircase
good.
and it's going directly out the door.
Yes.
That is negative Feng Shui because you're literally saying all the good energy is going out the door. So what can you do as a realtor? You walk in, you stage the home, put a basket right at the bottom of the stairways. And that way you're catching all of that energy. It stays in the house. Or, for example, put a mirror right on that door. It reflects it and comes right back in. So there's small things that you can do. Dried flowers. Fake flowers. Get them out of those homes. That is the worst thing that you can do because in essence it means death, right? Fake flowers.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
Dried flowers, that's death. So you want to get those out of your homes pretty quickly and only use live plants or fruits because that's, again, it's a live product. So those are very easy, simple, staging on a dime that's going to move that house much quicker and you're going to, again, work smarter, not harder.
Well,
Interesting.
it's funny because I'm also I'm not like an energy guy who believes in like the higher stuff. But one of the things I do notice is anytime I walk into a house, especially the entryways and things like that, and come to the house, when a house is done properly with Feng Shui,
Yes.
it just feels right.
Yeah.
Like you just look at it and you're like, huh, this all makes sense. Like
Yes,
it's
exactly.
aesthetically pleasing. Like you don't have to be an energy person in order to like checking your chakras in order to just be just walk in and be like, huh, yeah, that looks good, visually appealing, everything else. Like
Totally.
I know they've talked about walking in the front door and you can see the back door right away.
Exactly.
It's like
Yeah.
running straight through the house. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's awesome. Let's talk about, so you're doing the showing now, you're inside the house.
Yeah.
Which room should you focus on and how does that depend?
So again, work smarter, not harder. When you have cultures, so I already talked about collectivists, and they're very family-oriented, very community-oriented. So you can imagine when you're family-oriented and community-oriented, kitchens. Kitchens is where you want to focus your time because that's where they're going to be hosting family gatherings, etc. But you don't want to just show them the kitchen. A key piece of that kitchen, and this is a very small tip, doesn't cost you any money, but it's going to go very far, is understanding how the exhaust systems work in the kitchen. So a lot of Asian clients, right? They have spice, curry, fried food. They don't want their neighbors to necessarily smell that. They're very conscious of that. They don't have the exhaust systems in their countries that we have in Canada. So it's something really simple, but explain how the exhaust system works. And that in itself will help sell that home much quicker. So it's a very small thing, but it goes very far when it comes to someone's culture because food, family, those are values. So when you can drive to someone's value, you're going to move a home much quicker because now you're understanding who they are as a person. So you're not just seeing them on that surface level, you're seeing them internally now too, which is what you want. It's a very personal decision when you buy a home. You know, you're housing your family in that home. So you really want to drive to those values. On the flip side, so for example, you have Japanese clients. So do you guys like Japanese food?
Love it.
So how does Japanese food come to you? How is it presented to you?
Simply.
Simply. And what kind of like presentation?
Square plates, uncooked.
Bento. Bento boxes.
Oh yeah, bento box. Totally, that's right. Yeah. Got it.
We were like this,
I know.
Lindsey.
We just went. Shh, we'll bring it back.
So
I'm like
bento
raw,
boxes,
uncooked,
right?
with rice. Yes.
So those are compartmentalized.
Yes.
Small, very streamlined. So that is how dwellings are in Tokyo. Small, streamlined, very modular. So you want to focus on great room concepts. So when you come, so you know how you usually have, so traditional homes would be living room, dining room, but some homes have that whole great room concept. Japanese clients will love to go into homes that have the great room concept because it's a lot of space. That's not what they have in Tokyo. Remember, those dwellings cost a ton of money in Tokyo. So they have they have funds. And they also do a ton of research before they even come here. And that has a lot to do with why they're going to make that purchase really quickly. Right. So that's why you want to get in with these clients because they also often bring family, sponsor family. The myth is they don't have funds. They have a lot of money. And usually it's because of the real estate back in their home countries. So you can make those flips much quicker if you can really learn how to work with collectivists.
Awesome.
Right?
That's so great.
Right? That's value-added information.
That is value-added information.
You got
and
this.
I wish you were here longer.
I know.
But you have a course.
You have a course coming up.
I do.
Give us the details. We're going to send all these out to everybody out there. What's happening? Tell us about the course.
Yes, so I am hosting a public, I don't usually do public events. I usually do private corporate training events and speaker conferences, but I wanted to host a public event that anybody could attend. So this one's on June 20th, 9 a.m. to 12. Called 50 Shades of Beige.
Love it.
Right? So according to Benjamin Moore, the paint app, I'm toasted almond. You guys would not be. Yeah.
No. Kirsten, you would be toasted almond. I'm sure you're toasted almond.
Yeah.
I'm
toasted hazelnut.
I'm eggshell.
So 50 Shades of Beige, sales and service to all cultures. So
and where is it?
So I'm holding it at Cardell Theater. So Cardell is,
I love Cardell
Theater. It's a lovely theater, and I really love the space of it.
Quarry Park there.
In Quarry Park, exactly. Awesome. So it's 100% on sales and service. Definitely, I believe realtors will really be able to benefit from this. Very cost effective.
If you live in Calgary, it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. You're in sync again. I said no-brainer.
Yeah, and the other thing too is it's like, so maybe you have, maybe you work within your own culture. That's fine, but you don't get to pick who's on the other side of a transaction.
No,
you don't.
All the stuff. You don't get to, and I know that all of you would love to expand your horizons, especially saying that you'll be alienated 30% of the market by not coming to this.
Why would you want to do that?
I'm signing up, but I'm coming.
I expect to see you there. I give prizes.
Well,
I give prizes for right answers and tries.
One of the things that was this moment to me, and it should have been a moment earlier, but we had one of our realtors, I won't mention names, but I'm so grateful that he emailed me, because we booked this big company lunch big
Yep.
company lunch at the end of
This was
June.
a miss.
At the end
on
of
our
June, and
part.
he wrote back, and he was so grateful for the invitation, wonderful, and then just said, so you know, this is the month of Ramadan for all Muslims, and
And we have this big lunch event
I
that we
know.
and
booked.
we know,
Yes.
and for me, just naturally, I wouldn't have booked it during Christmas because that's what I think about.
Yes.
And I sat back and I was like, we have 700 realtors.
Yep.
Yes.
And there's so many dates that are so important for so many people.
Yes.
And I was unbelievably embarrassed that I just hadn't thought about it, but very grateful that he was confident enough and respectful
Yes.
enough to tell me. And for me, it was just like, it was this moment where from here on out, it's just this,
Good for you.
this consciousness of being like,
for you.
it's not just about the dates that are important to me. There's so many. So I'm going to come because we have so many cultures
and honestly,
at CIR
Yeah.
too, right? And understanding how everybody would like to be spoken to and worked with is really important.
And I just got to make another statement on that really quickly is that, we love, Christmas will always be Christmas to us.
Yeah,
People say, put the
absolutely.
Christ back in Christmas. Like, that's okay, because us, the Catholics, the Christians, we're all allowed to have our holidays too.
Well, you can't walk
And
into
then-
Costco even if you don't celebrate Christmas
Well, that's
without
right,
it
that's
being
right.
Christmas.
But the
right?
point
Like,
is
it's just-
that, and then I love the other cultures, Ramadan, all those other ones
Yeah.
too, and the Jewish holidays,
Yeah.
and
gone
Chinese
to
New
Hanukkah
Year,
parties,
and
yeah.
all this other stuff too,
Yeah,
and you just respect them
absolutely.
exactly the same. So
Yeah, and I'm very anti-politically correctness, actually. No, I really am. I think that it creates a very we versus them mentality, and we want to think inclusively,
I love it.
right?
Yes.
So that's what, to me, is more important. So if the whole PC thing has to go out the door, Merry Christmas, Ramadan Mubarak, that's what we'd say right now, Ramadan Mubarak, like that's what we want
Yeah.
to be doing, right? And it's also just more reason to party. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you want...
More reasons.
That's
for
that's
party.
Lee Yusuf.
I
Lee Yusuf.
love
We have. He's
that.
like we celebrate everything. He's like we just celebrate all year round. Okay, so real quick here, we're gonna send out a registration link, and you have a
Yeah.
promo code for CIR as well.
Yes, yes.
And
for
we
your
have that.
realtors who I love,
Awesome.
you guys who I love. Yeah, promo code 1124.
Okay.
And
Okay.
early bird pricing ends June 6th, so it'll still apply, but I would go for cheaper pricing if I could.
If someone went to your website right
Totally.
now, tWorks, what is it on? All the information
So,
on there?
so the event link I will have to send to
Okay.
you. Yeah,
We have it. We
Yeah,
have
because it's
it.
a private event. So
We're gonna
yeah.
send it out to make sure that all of you have it. We were promoting this. We're putting it on our training calendar. Everything. So we're all in on this.
Yeah.
Think it's an awesome event. So, and we appreciate you coming
Yeah,
on and giving
thank
us
you very
some
much.
tidbits.
you know what? Your success is mine. I want you guys to rock it here. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Thanks,
absolutely.
Tina.
Yeah.
Tina, thank you so
My
much. and
pleasure.
We'll send all the information and so great. So great. Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to move
Thank
on
you.
here to get you guys out of here as close to on time as possible, which
We'll
is
make it happen.
probably not going to happen. We'll
Well.
see. Okay. So we're going to leave you out with or send you out with another heartfelt video from our second charity, ARCS, and have your Kleenex boxes nearby, and we'll be back explaining our charity program. Stick with us.